Hello, welcome back. Tea with Jude. Today, I just want to share a cool story that happened to me the other day. And also to start off by saying that I wanted to share something that was cute and fun on top of that, which is cute and fun. A friend of mine had sent me over this email, and it is labeled a message from the Queen. It's really quite adorable, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it does start off this way. To all U.S. citizens, to the citizens of the United States of America, from Her Sovereign Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In light of your failure to nominate competent candidates for President of the United States, and thus to govern yourselves, we hereby give notice of the revocation of your independence effective immediately. Her Sovereign Majesty Queen Elizabeth II will resume her duties over all states, commonwealths, and territories, except North Dakota and Utah, which she doesn't fancy. And then it goes on to sweet little changes, like putting the U back in certain words, like with favorite. But the response I got from my friends that I sent it out to was, gosh, I really just needed to hear something fun. I just needed to hear something sweet. And I think we forget about that sometimes. I've talked about before where there's light, there's dark, where there's high, there's low. And we can very easily get sucked into the doldrums of, oh my God, what are we going to do? And as I've mentioned before, that when we go to those places of fear, then we are not staying very present, are we? Because here I am in the present right now, and I'm as happy as can be. So this is a really great place to live right now, is being in the present. The story I wanted to share that happened to me the other day, it's just a happy story, is that coming to a certain age in life, the Department of Motor Vehicles makes you take the written exam in order to renew your license, which threw me into a minor state of panic because I haven't taken a written DMV test since I was very, very young. And I mean, since they had them on paper and you used a pencil and then you got graded and you got to miss 6 and then you took it home and passed it on or kept it for the next time you had to take tests. This is not done that way anymore. So I went online and I took some practice tests. And that's when I went into a little panic because I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to be driving, I'm going to be Ubering. And oh my God, then I'm going to have to really wear my mask because you have to wear a mask in the Uber, blah, blah, blah. So then there was another site that I came across that I paid X amount of money, and there are a variety of 400 and some questions that can be asked on these tests. So, and they had these broken up into categories, easy, hard, challenging, whatever. And so I studied my little butt off on this. Multiple choice, so you would know automatically whether you got it right or not, so you could sit there and go, how could I have missed that again? I mean, how come I didn't know that when you came to a four-way stop and that there is a white line there, that you are to park at least 1 yard away from that line? Who is going to get out and measure the 1 yard? Not me. So, stupid questions. I learned a little bit. It was great. I had made my appointment to go to the DMV. I couldn't make it in my neighborhood. I couldn't even make it south, even down to Orange County. So I made it out into the valley. I made it out to in Thousand Oaks. And I've been kind of looking at Thousand Oaks thinking, is that someplace I may want to end up moving? And I thought, well, okay, here's a nice opportunity. So I made it back in January. And the DMV in Thousand Oaks had opened up on the Thursday, just a few days before my appointment, which was on Monday morning or Tuesday morning. So thank you. There's a lot of things to thank with this coronavirus, and it's called very little traffic. So I made it out to Thousand Oaks. I'm like, 30 minutes. I was going 75, 80, where I've got a ticket now, according to the DMV, according to my tests. People were going like 100 miles an hour. It's scary out there, but I made it in a half hour. There weren't that many people there. Everybody was 6 feet apart. Went to check in. They asked me, when you live in West LA, why are you all the way out here? Told them the story. Went over to the counter number 3, where Paul was working. And so Paul and I had a nice conversation about, how long have you been in the job? Do you like it? What is it you'd like to do? He said he wanted to be a policeman. Now, mind you, the riots had just started like the week before, and I went, oh, that's interesting timing. That's good. And he goes, no. He said, I really want to experience that. Because he said, what I'd like to do is become a lawyer and, work with the police department. And so that was nice. He's forward thinking. He's a pre-millennial. It's nice. So anyway, I kept teasing with him. Okay, I had to wait 15 minutes. So are you going to waive my test for me? And he kept saying, no, we're not going to waive the test, but you'll be fine. And I said, I haven't taken the test in a bazillion years. What if I don't pass? And he goes, don't worry, you'll be fine. And he said, so, okay. He said, do your eye test and then go over and have your picture taken. So I went over to have my picture taken, and I told the young woman behind the counter, I said, listen, if this turns out to be as butt ugly as the last picture that I took, I'm coming for you. So how is this picture? And she said, it's pretty. And I said, you hesitated. I said, let me take a look at it. And she goes, no, it's really pretty, but I can't turn the monitor around, but you can kind of hike yourself up on the counter and look around the corner and see what your picture looked like, which I did. But I couldn't see it. It's not geographically desirable. So I said, listen, I'm going to trust you. She goes, please do. I said, okay, there's my vanity. So then I said, okay, picture's taken and everything. Now I go over there and take my test. And she goes, no, it's waived. And so I didn't want to initially show my exuberance because I thought maybe they were just joking with me. And I said, you're joking. And she said, no. And I said, why? And I said, because I asked for it. And she said, no, because we just open and there's so many people and we only have X amount of computers and every other one you cannot use. And she goes, you've been driving for a while. I'm sure you're fine. So I went back to window number 3. I spoke with Paul. He was like, oh, really? They didn't waive it? And I said, yes. I was thrilled. I mean, beyond thrilled. I went and treated myself to a great lunch and a big piece of chocolate cake. Vegan, the best. But the story behind this is where my spiritual, metaphysical side comes in, because that's how a lot of my clients from my past job had thought about me if they were to describe me, Jude, the pretty one, the one that's very spiritual. So what I had done is I had found a book on my nightstand, and it's called How to Work with Angels. Now, I have conversations with my angels a lot, but this was a lot more specific, and it's written by a woman by the name of Elizabeth Clare Prophet, which sounds like the plains of the Midwest in the 1800s. I love that name, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. It's right here, How to Work with Angels. So I'm looking at Archangel Michael and Uriel and Raphael and Gabriel, which is probably, if you're not zoned out by now, you're a little intrigued, and I hope that you are. And one of the angels, Hophael, and what Hophael does is helping and absorbing information, studying for and passing tests. So guess who I worked with a couple of days before I had to have my test? And I took this book with me, and before I got out of the car in the parking lot of the DMV, I had a talk with Hophael, and I said, with grace and ease, may I pass this test? May it happen like May I pass it like it never even existed. Words to that effect. And then I went in, and then that story all came about, and I walked out of there with a huge smile on my face. And not that I needed to get back in my car to talk to Angel Hophael, but I did. And as I'm sitting there, I started laughing and I said, "Oh my God, you are pretty amazing. Thank you so much. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that they would have waived the test. Thank God. So now I have another 5 years before I have to take the test again." So the little adjunct to this is that I had faith in something other than myself. So if it's going to be an angel, whether you believe in angels, whatever it is, if you have a belief and a faith in something and you surrender to it, and you really don't give it too much more thought, you just say, "Here, take it, it's yours, make it happen. I'm cool with however it's going to work out." Doors open, windows open, doors close, windows close on the old. It takes little effort. It's happening for you. You are totally enmeshed in the trust of knowing that if you surrender to whatever it is, it's going to show itself in the best way possible for your highest good. And the stuff works. So as I said, whether it's going to be with angels, whether it's just whether it's going to be with God, whether it's going to be with just talking to the universe, whether it's going to be in whatever you put your faith and your comfort in those times of need, and surrender to it and say, "I know you've got my back," and then just let it go. And then somewhere down the line, maybe the next day or after the weekend, you'll come across a situation that you had hoped for, and it showed up effortlessly, and it did it on your behalf because you surrendered and let it go and let it show up the way that it was supposed to. So I wish for you, in part of your journey of creating something wild and wonderful, that if need be, any of the angst gets waived, that you surrender and you walk away and you smile and you go buy yourself a big piece of cake. I'm telling you, this cake is the best. I'll tell you where it is. It's a place called Joy, J-O-I, in Westlake. It's a vegan restaurant. Great food. Okay, my happy story for the day. I'll try to keep them coming. Thanks for joining me. Bye.